Saturday the 7th of January 2017, and we landed back in India. We stayed at a hotel called the Red Fox, and I certainly didn't expect to see Mr. Fantastic Fox blinds. This was Delhi the next morning, fog as usual. And then a couple of hours flight to Guwahati, which is the capital of Assam. We headed to IIT, which is where Vish is teaching, and this is the guest house where I'm staying. Quite a nice place. The campus is lovely, it's got lots of lakes. The IIT has about 5,000 students, and all students and faculty have to live on campus, so it's quite a big campus. There's lots of construction happening on campus, and this is an Indian building site where everything is literally done by hand. They're resurfacing roads, and there's a road crew just like you'd find in Australia. And I only remember these from playgrounds, not from actually working on the roads. This is Anna, Preeti's maid that comes every day, and it was fascinating to watch her chopping the vegetables with this contraption that she had made steady with her foot. Looks quite ergonomic if you can sit down like that. And she did a fine job of chopping the sabzi, or the vegetables. And this is what we ended up with, another yummy homemade meal by Preeti. The next day we headed into Guwahati. We had to cross River Brahmaputra first on one of these ferries, and that was an interesting experience. Had to climb down underneath the decks, and there's the safety gear there. And you peek out through, and on the top are all the motorbikes and people. That's what it looks like from the outside. Chugging along. We arrived on the other side to find these idols all on the beach. We went to Fancy Bazaar, and this is where you go if you've got a complaint, apparently. Came across a couple of interesting characters while we were in the market, just wandering through. You never know what you're going to find in India. Here's a street scene. Chaos is normal. And a hand wooden cart for carrying cargo and stuff around. On the left there are fresh kidney beans, and they were yummy when Preeti cooked them up. The vegetables as ever looking great. And we went to this cafe where the tree was growing out the window, or in the window and then out. Some typical Assamese figures. Red and white is big. And then looking down to the river. Next day it was time to head to Darjeeling. We flew to Bagdogra, and I'm glad there wasn't an accident because this ambulance looks a bit dodgy. House all framed up, ready to go. And this was a map of Darjeeling. It was a couple of hours up the hill, and it was interesting to see that number 65 was a shrubbery. I had a good look out for that one. King across Darjeeling, which is a hill station for the British Raj, built in the mid-19th century. Lots of funny little laneways. It's about 150,000 people and about 2,000 metres in altitude. Street dogs, lots of street dogs, they all needed a good wash. And I love Indian signs. Keep calm and don't smoke. Please don't pluck the flowers. We went on the toy train, which is a narrow gauge railway that was built in 1879 to 1881. It does come from down the valley, but we only caught it up at the top in Darjeeling. Stoking up the steam engine. The train went about 8 or 10 k's across the ridge to Gum. And here's the fire equipment on the station. Not quite sure how handy it'll be. When they emptied the coals from the steam train, the locals went through and got what they could from them to keep their fire going, keep them warm. Just a bit of specky scenery. In the afternoon we walked up Observatory Hill to the Mahakal temple. And it was a blend of Buddhist and Hindu. This might be reflected because at one stage this area was actually taken over by the Gorkhas and was part of Nepal. Prayer wheels, prayer flags. Just some sun in the trees. And looking down one of the laneways. Lots of ladies were baking and selling this corn, which is really yummy. And here's Modi's India. And that's it for the day. Bye.